Hello and welcome. This is a lecture series regarding iconography, and what is behind the iconography is iconology and the temple architecture, and that also perspectives, means what is my impression after seeing it, that I am going to present in this series, which may or may not be different with those who have studied it earlier or those who will be studying it later. This is just my own perception and what I thought after looking at all these things. With this brief, let's get going to this lecture topic, that is Bhutanatha temple. It is at Badami. Bhutanatha temple, as the name indicates, is of Shiva. It is devoted to Lord Shiva, and the temple construction, the iconography and the temple architecture, all these things are very interesting. As we know, Chalukya started temple building right from the caves. They constructed Badami caves 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of that, 1 is devoted to Lord Shiva, 2 and 3 to Lord Vishnu, and 4th is devoted to Jain Tirthankars. So after that was the cave temples. That was a primitive stage. They thought, why not go for a structural constructions? Why not go for structural temples? This was the first experiment which Chalukyas executed, maybe in the year 600 or so. And from there they started that they cut the rocks, they make the structures out of it, and they start constructing temples. Not only they started constructing temples, but they adopted different styles. The style which they popularized was also Dravidian style, but subsequently the temple constructions which they made had all type of mixtures. That is a development of Dravidian style, that also they added some features of Nagara styles in it, and they developed Visera styles. All these things we see when we travel from Badami to Pattadakkal and then to Aihole. All this good development of temples we can see. Basically, these temples were initially devoted to Lord Shiva, but subsequently they also accommodated or they made modifiers for Lord Vishnu and also other religions. Like they had got Bauddha Viharas, also the temples for the Jain Munis. So that was a great thing which Chalukyans did. Now let's go a little ahead of museum and start looking up. The mountain which is formed by red stones we'll see, and there are two temple complexes, both together are called Bhutanatha temple complexes and Mallikarjun temple complex. These are situated at the base of the mountains and on the lake of Agastha Lake. Agastha Lake is the man-made, made by Chalukyas once they made their capital as the Badami. That was a good water source for them, and it has served for many years. When we look at the Bhutanatha temple, what we see is what are the architectural details, what are the sculptures in it, which are the deities, and to whom the temples were devoted earlier, how it was changed subsequently, and what it is at present. All these things we are going to see, and that is what I call as a temple perspectives. Now, Bhutanatha temple was constructed by Chalukyas in 8th century, but it has got many modifications thereon. All these are made around 1300 years back with primitive tools. What we have to understand is cutting rock with a primitive tools. How they have cut, how they have got the finishings, and how they have achieved such a perfection is really amazing. We see in it the Ardha Mandapa, Mukha Mandapa and Garbhagriha. These are the routine constituents of the temples they had at that time. But we are also going to see how these were also modified subsequently, maybe because of the Odisha architecture which came into temple, and they had the Nritya Mandapa and the Mandapa for the social purposes also, which we are going to see in subsequent series at different temples when we study them. So at this stage we were Ardha Mandapa, Mukha Mandapa and Garbhagriha. Garbhagriha is meant for the deity. Now presence of Nandi confirm it as the Shiva temple. Name itself is Bhutanatha, has to be Shiva temple, but of course whenever there is Nandi, it has to be a Shiva temple. So Nandi is there. Half the premises is devoted to Buddheshwar, which is facing west. Now here slightly the direction of the temples have not followed as for the subsequent routines, where the Shiva temples always the direction was facing east, so that when the sun will rise, the rays will come directly on the Shiva, and whatever is the holy water which flows through will go to the north. Of course, that was showing the directions at that time also, when the Shiva temples were in the forest and people were lost in the directions. Now, Bhutanatha group of temple comprises of bunch of sandstone temples, all dedicated to Lord Shiva. The Bhutanatha group of temple come under the influence of Jain for a period of some time. As we see, the dynasties were changing, so also the influence of the religion was also there. Later it was taken by Lingayats, who installed a Shiva Linga in shrine and Nandi in front of it. It belongs to a later period and was built during the religion of the Western Chalukyas. If we see Badami caves, they were around 600. So these were almost after 200 to 300 after the Badami caves were built. It is one of the earliest example of structural temples in India. As I said, the earlier temples were cave temples. Then came the rock cut. Rock cut was mainly used for the sculptures and molding different stone to different shapes. But the rock cut temple itself, yes, we are going to go it, and it was a marvel, one of the thing at Ajanta and Ellora, and second at Tamil Nadu. We are going to go to that temple. And then came the structural temple. Structural temple means they used stone, shaped it and constructed it as we are seeing it right now. Later addition were built by the Kalyani Chalukyas of the West. So this was the development of this temple in the years. Now let us continue with the Bhutanatha temple. Temple on the east side of the Agastya Tirtha or lake is the Bhutanatha temple, built in a style of early Eastern Chalukyas. The temple architecture is a combination of North Indian Nagara and South Indian temple architecture. It's a glory which we see more in detail when we are going to see the temples of Aihole. It's really beautiful combinations which has created a lot of beautiful temples by taking some ideas from the north, combining them and having our own ideas. That is called a Visera type of temples. But this temple has got, as far as this temple is concerned, it has got Nagara and Dravidian both styles. Obviously, when we see the architecture, we see that temple is built in two stages. The inner half and the shrine reflect the style of Eastern Badami Chalukyas, while the outer wall represents the style of Kalyani Chalukyas of West. So both how it has evolved, it's an excellent example from cave temples till this. The inner hall has massive pillars and base are decorated with lotus designs. Again, a typical Hinduism. On one side of the doorway of the shrine stands goddess Ganga riding the Makara. Makara is a vehicle of Ganga, and Ganga stands for purity. Again, the introduction of Ganga has come from north. While on the other side river is Yamuna. Yamuna rides tortoise, her vehicle is tortoise, turtle, and most important, it stands for purity, character and wisdom. So both are at the doorways. It tells you that by the time you come here, you are pure and you are with the wisdoms. The Shiva Linga is in the shrine believed to be a later date, put in by the Lingayats, as already we have seen it, how it came here. Now this is the floor design of the Bhutanatha temple. Both the side by temple and this temple we are showing it, and here what we distinctly see is the not much importance given to the directions, but the more importance is given to the space or place available. We are in Bhutanatha temple complex, Badami. It appears to be a temple in red stones. What you are seeing here, one side Agastya Lake, and second place or second, what we are seeing is a Bhutanatha complex, and we are walking. This direction is close to the mountain or where the cave temples are situated. Now you can see it in 360 degrees. All around you can see. You can appreciate the door decorations. You can appreciate the temples, and as you can see here, there is no shikhara. You can see the shikhara very small. Then it is partially developed, and dominantly this style has got combinations of Western, that is the Dravidian style, and Northern style. We are walking in the premises of Bhutanatha temple. All the stones are used whichever were available in this premises. You can appreciate same is seen in the mountains. This is a Agastya lake. So while walking, we have come up to the lake side. This path, if you remember, we have come from this path, and this side there are caves, and exactly opposite of it is the Badami fort. This Agastya lake has got water depth according to the rainfall, and this we have taken almost in November, so good amount of water is there. You can see, looking at it, it's a combination slightly changing from the Dravidian style towards northern side. Nicely decorated, beautifully carved, and well retained almost all the structures. This department is ASI department, and they take very much care of it. They not only look the maintenance of it, but also they do some reconstructive work and try to preserve it for the future generations. See the beautiful carvings. If you see the grill of the window, which we have just seen now, is a speciality of Chalukyans. So wherever you see such type of grills to the windows, you can think of Chalukya might have had either the temple has influence or Chalukyas has constructed. Now here the both things, not that king has constructed it, but also that the temple has taken certain architectural hints from the earlier temple and try to make something different, and of course something better than earlier. Again, we have come to almost one round the Agastya lake. There are small shrines around. You can call them as a Parivara temples. But the main god here is a Shiva along with Nandi, which we are going to see subsequently. Sculptures you can see. Though they are partially seen, you can really appreciate how they would have been when they were just carved. Now you can see the roof, how they have made it in the stone. This what we call is a rock cut structures. See, the pillars are there, then walls are there. Now this was actually developed by Chalukyas, and this is the glory of this temple. We come to the side of Agastya lake. There are some steps by which you can go down, but there are guards. And one thing one should know here is photography, you will have to take permission from Dharwad Circle. ASI department of Dharwad is extremely kind. They give you permission, but you will have to write to them and take the permission. this all around 360 degree view. This is a road which takes you from say museum, then you start walking here, and this path takes you to the temple. This is all along the side of Agastya Lake. So these are the different videos which will give you an exact idea where the mandir is located, where the temple is located, how are the surrounding structures, how neat and clean and disciplined it is. So that all is given in this video. Now we'll go to the video, we have seen it, but again we'll go in more detail because video may not show it each and every small aspect of it. So that is why we go for both. We go for video also, and we'll go for the static photographs also. In static photographs we can get a clear idea, and in case if you want to have more observation, we can pause it and you can have the details of it. So that is the main aim behind this lecture series, is to give you a perfect idea as far as how the structures are there, and you can closely observe them, and might be that some finding which I missed, you can get them and you can help us to develop a good So these are small shrines around. There is some overlapping. The basic aim of overlapping is, if you are really interested in going in some details, some views or some different angles, if it is not there in one. Now here what you are seeing is the fort. The Badami fort is seen on the background, which we just now seen. So these are some advantages of taking the videos in different angles of the same premises. This is actually taken from the other side of the temples. This is a temple complex, so may look similar, but they are different shrines. A beautifully maintained garden. There are some inscriptions also in this mountain, which we have made a different video, and that inscriptions are important because that gives us all idea about the historical aspect of this temple, how developed it, in which stages it has gone. This gives a beautiful view. Now in which spaces we have walked, which are corridors we have walked, you can see from here they are all shown in one view. And behind is these are the small shrines. Behind is a mountain which you can appreciate has got sandstone, red sandstone, that is responsible for making all these great temples. Great temple because they have survived for more than 14 years, 1400 years. So it's a long survival. See how they must have constructed it. A structure which can last so long, and most important here, they have not used anything like a adhesive material. No cement, no adhesive material. It is just interlocking of the stone. This is here, if you can see how the interlocking is achieved. Just before some time we see in a roof. Now here it is showing how interlocking is achieved. Now coming to carvings, at the back of the temple, the avatars of Lord Vishnu and giant figures are carved. As far as avatars of Vishnus are concerned, it is very common. You will see at lot of places, and they were extremely given importance for all these things. We have seen these avatars also when we were seeing caves. This is a temple which shows it. This is a Garbhagriha or Sanctum Sanctorum. Above you are seeing a Kalash. Then you are seeing a square structure, and all these things we are going to see in more details subsequently in some other video. This video is meant to have a rough idea about the Bhutanatha temple site. As far as temple architecture is concerned, yes, we are going to have it in a different lecture. Now here, this is the main shrine. If we go inside from the steps, we can see carvings here. This is main shrine, and what we are saying here is Nandi. Nandi is there, that means it has to be Shiva, and it is said that this Shiva's temple was earlier a Jain temple, and subsequently it was turned to Shiva's temple by Lingayats. The inner shrine is believed to have been built by Chalukyas in 7th century. So this temple has travelled right from 7th century till 10th or 11th century, and we are seeing different changes made at different perspectives. This is Garbhagriha, Sanctum Sanctorum. Here also you can see the temple is constructed in two different stages, the earlier and the later one. And sometimes we get a feeling that possibly there is there was a damage which was subsequently recovered by the subsequent dynasties. Now inner shrine is believed to have been built by Chalukyas. Now here it should be Shiva's. Shivalinga was inside. Now after that there is one more complex which is next to it, that is called as Mallikarjuna temple. It lies northeast of the lake, belonged to the period of later Chalukyas, that is Chalukyas of Kalyani. It has a tiered pyramidal structure which is characteristic of Western Chalukya architecture. Now what is this tiered pyramid structures? Partially we have just now seen, if you could remember, around 2 minutes back. And here again we'll see in this a tiered pyramidal structure which is a characteristic of a Dravidian type or Chalukyan type. Now temple in the Mallikarjun group, also called as Bhutanatha group, is a combined group. This is one of it. This group is close to the main Bhutanatha temple or Bhutanatha group, but located on the north bank of the lake. Iceno way which we have walked through. So earlier is this Mallikarjun temple, then you walk along the lake and go to the Bhutanatha temple. It consists of several temples. These open to south and has a pyramidal structure belonging to 11th or 12th century, and look at the style. It is Pamsana, or it is combination of Nagara developed by Chalukyas to form a new style that is called as Pamsana. It has got a tiered pyramidal structures. The largest temple was Vishnu temple, saw a period when these ruined temples were in disuse and was reconstructed by Shivalingas while preserving the remaining of its historic artwork. So that was great work done by them. This temple present in the construction ideas explored by the Kalyani Chalukyas, and they have got their architectural influence on it. The largest temple has open rectangular mandapam with 8 pillars that contacts to the inner mandapa, Antarala, that is the vestibule, and the Garbhagriha where there is a deity. All this on a square plan. Square plan again influences a Dravidian plan. All temple in a group have a similar walls. So this shows that the origin is at same time. The artwork found in the group includes both Vishnu and Shiva. Now let's see them. This is a Mallikarjun complex. From some angle you will see the Bhutanatha temple which you have seen just now. From some angles you will see mountain where inscriptions are written. Look at the type. If you want to see all these types together, then Ihor Pattadakal are the best places. Layered pyramidal structures you can appreciate. You can appreciate here also. Look at the way the shrines are developed. So this we call as a Pamsana style. Now as far as top is concerned, there are two things. One thing is called a Kalasha, that is a northern Indian, and here it is different. It is not Kalasha. Kalasha is North Indian. It is filled usually with a Ganga water. Whatever types of temple we have described, whatever styles we have described, you can see it in closer views. These are different temples. We are showing you these temples in all angles so that you can have a 360-degree idea, number one, and number two, you can observe each and every minute detail of these temples. With that, we are coming to end of this small presentation over Bhutanatha complexes Badami. As we have seen, it was developed by Chalukyas and it has taken a long span, right, from 600th century to 11th century. Nicely decorated, and this was the first structure in Mindwell, which is the structured engineering. It has got Dravidian style, some influence of Nagara style, and also we are seeing certain architectures which are Pamsana type. More details we are going to see it also in a Shivalaya temples which are on the fort, Upper Shivalaya and Lower Shivalaya, where we are extremely in detail described how these changes are taking place from time to time. Thank you for giving me your valuable time. Thank you. Goodbye and take care. Keep watching our videos and subscribe us if you like it. Thank you. Goodbye.